No matter how different two games are, they're always going to have one thing in common: the ability to grab and hold your attention. But something almost no one realizes is that you can actually use the same tricks as your favorite games to hack your own attention and boost your productivity in real life. Let's take a look. Well, actually, let's start with my favorite and probably unconsciously yours, the sound design. Starting off with War Thunder, they do a lot of good stuff with sound design. I'm actually going to take a look or listen to a couple of different spots. For like example, the sound when an enemy is hit, and even when you fire the cannon. Notice how basically it activates the same trigger in your brain as press button, receive reward. Especially when you're playing on PC, you're literally clicking your mouse, you get an instantaneous sound or reward, and then when it hits the enemy, you get like another reward. So basically like 2 dopamine hits for the price of 1. The other part too you may have heard just a little bit of, I'll actually highlight it for you now, is the general soundtrack. Just listen to how the soundtrack is actually recorded. Sounds accurate to the time frame, has swells of emotion, kind of sucks you in, doesn't it, after a while. Here's another part that you probably didn't notice, but now you will every time you play the game, is all the sounds that go into when you hit. Check this out.
Target destroyed!
You see how all that kind of immersion ties together, and basically from the get-go, you're grabbed in and you're hooked. You're immersed in the game through sound. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but sound actually is one of the key design points that both movies and video games use. Think about the last time you heard a scary movie. You probably didn't notice all the small little bits and pieces that go into it. Same just like with War Thunder. All the sounds of tracks hitting the ground, all the radio callouts, all the time your driver says something or your gunner says something. All those small little nuances immerse you, and then they hold you in terms of your attention. And you keep playing the game, you click the mouse, you get the reward, rinse and repeat. Keep in mind this piece as we move on, because how to use all this, we're going to hit up just at the very end in a little bit. So check out this next game, one of my favorite games, also from the same company, Gaijin. So this is one of the other games called Enlisted. They did such a good job on their first game, War Thunder, that they applied similar soundtracks on this. Notice the soundtrack here is also era accurate. Other things with the sound design, just like with the tanks, they did the same thing with people. You have things such as when you hit an enemy, you get a sound. When you pull the trigger, you also get a sound. Then you kind of get pulled in with the soundtrack. And then in actual gameplay, when enemies are actually fighting against you, you have those other bits and pieces of immersion, like that tinnitus sound or like a concussive force kind of sound.
The next control point.
The last piece I want to talk about on this too is the daily bonus sounds. Just like in War Thunder, from the very beginning you log in and you get the sound of the daily bonus. Now the other part of the daily bonus here that I want to talk about too is it hits a specific part of your brain and it has a psychological factor, and that's kind of like the gambling effect in a sense. You don't know what daily bonus you're going to get, so you get a sense of anticipation. Your brain's like, ooh, what am I going to get now? I don't know, could be good, could be bad. Which is weird because it's almost like the randomness is more attractive than, say, something certain. In fact, there's been studies with mice where they could be given the option of a consistent feeding schedule or an erratic feeding schedule based on how a little button was set up to where if they pressed it, they get something. If they pressed it on the second time, it may or may not get something out of it. And they found that kind of activated in mice them hitting that button over and over and over again. So you combine that with the sound of the daily bonus and boom, you're hooked into the game. You do the same thing with purchasing upgrades and with getting rewards. So when you do a specific kind of quest, so to speak, once you achieved it, you unlock the reward and then you get something like this. Now for the third game, and it'll be the last game on the list for today, is Spirit City LoFi Sessions. So if you notice the thumbnail, which obviously if you're this far in the video, you had to because you clicked on the video, you notice there was a very stark difference from tanks and war games to this game, which is a productivity game. So I wanted to highlight this because look at how you can kind of start looking at game design and applying it to life design. So with this game, one of the things that they do very well is the overall soundtrack. It's a very chill soundtrack. It's made to help you focus. It's made to help you concentrate, made to help you relax even a little bit too. And you also have the ability to pick what helps you most. I want to highlight this piece too because in everything that we're talking about here, if you want to use this kind of design tricks or hacks, you're going to have to do something that's kind of hard. And that's actually being intentional with what you're having in your environment. That's why I love this game too as an example, because you get to choose your environment. You get to choose the sound environment, you get to choose what you're hearing, what you're listening to while you're working, so that you can maximize your productivity. So just like you decided to watch this video today, whether it be for some of the cool gameplay, or maybe you just really like tanks, or if you're here for some of the productivity thing, you chose to come here to do that. So that's going to be key in the other half when we're going to talk about some of the visuals. Now, just like with the other games, when you unlock something here in this game, you also get a nice sound effect. Do the work, get the sound, boom, there you go. Sounds like something maybe you can do. And here's how you can do it. Part of it could be in having what's called a Pomodoro timer. Now, the important thing about this timer right here is that the noise does something more than set the mood or get you to feel a certain way, or even to hook you on and hold you into something. In fact, the noise, you're going to use it in an opposite way. It's to pull you out of something. So whether you're in a rest or a flow state, that noise is going to pull you out from that. Now that's important too, because sometimes you'll need noise to kind of pull you out of the clutter of everyday life. When it comes to designing the sound in your own life, think about ways that you can use noises from either timers or something else to pull you out of something. Say you're having a rest, you're on YouTube, watching some fun things. Maybe you set a 10 or 20 minute timer. At the end of the timer, there's some sort of noise that's kind of jolting to pull you out of like that kind of assuming media mindset and back into, okay, time to get back to work. Now, if you notice all of this, note how Spirit City uses the same designs. They're psychologically connected to the other games and how they can be used even without the game. Just like in those first two games, you click a button, you get a reward. In LoFi City Sessions, you click a button, you get a reward. You can click it on knocking out a to-do list item. You can click it on something like this right here. Something to kind of keep your interest, but keeping your interest and being productive. Now let's move on to what tends to grab attention rather than hold it. That's the visuals. If you don't believe visual design is a powerful tool, then remember that it was either the thumbnail or the title of this video that got you to click. Both of those are visual. The visuals can be very important and can definitely determine how your attention is grabbed. So let's go back and look at War Thunder. Now, we mentioned earlier the kind of instant gratification payoff of click a button, receive cool sound. Well, guess what? They have an impact cam too. This, by the way, is absolutely brilliant because then you actually see the result of what you're doing, and the result isn't always what you expect. So once again, you're back to a little bit of a gambling feeling of, hey, I clicked this thing, I don't know what's going to happen. Now, what kind of grabs you a little bit more is you can affect to a good degree what happens based on your skill set. Now, I'm not a very good War Thunder player, so we won't highlight that, but we'll highlight some pretty easy ones so I can kind of show you what I'm talking about. So if you notice here,
Target destroyed.
click the button, there's a sound followed up by a visual of what actually happened. So then you get a true gratification payoff. You don't just get the sound. You don't just get, pull cord here, boom, but you see what are the results of all the gameplay, all the experiences I've been having, all of my skill set development. I can see right here, boom, taking out another player. Or on the other hand, boom, I'm taken out. Once again, noise, but with the visuals. And honestly, even though it's not fun to lose and, you know, get absolutely destroyed, it still was kind of cool to see my own tank explode. And I'm like, wow, dang. I know at least someone on the other than that has some pretty instant gratification going on right now too. They got a pretty good payoff picking me off. And here's the other piece too, is the end of round rewards. Notice not only the sound, but visually it pops up. You get these cool little things that you can look at. Boom, you got a reward. Now you can look at it and see what it is. Same thing with experience. Any sort of experience system is a way to hold your attention and to hold your engagement. Because now it's one of those, okay, I'm just this much closer. So close to the next thing. Let me keep playing. And on top of that, they added sound, like the little clicking sound. So now you have sound and visual tying together to hold your attention. Sounds crazy. But I mean, games are literally designed to grab and hold your attention, which, hey, when it's time for entertainment is great. But what if you're at a point where you're like, hey, I don't need to be playing longer, I need to be doing some other things. Well, this last game here is going to show us a little bit of how we can use these designs to our benefit. So back to Spirit City. Notice how you can change how your person looks, you can change how their background looks, you know, stuff. You can make it just right, which in and of itself is also a little bit of a hook, because sometimes you want something different, but you can change it. So then you get a little bit of a feeling of like, hey, I can kind of control this environment a little bit. And then also, you got to do things in order to unlock more cosmetics. So it hooks you by, hey, I got to do this thing in order to get more of the currency, in order to get more of the cool looking things. Now you might say, well, duh, Matt, that's kind of obvious. That's how games work. Exactly. So you can do the same thing for yourself. Have you ever thought about setting up some sort of small rewards for something you have on your to-do list? So that way, every time they clear out your to-do list or achieve a goal, which if you're looking on how to achieve some goals, definitely check out some of my other videos. We talk about goals, priorities, and some other things. But it's definitely good to have something. Even if it's like, hey, I went to the gym 3 out of the 7 days today. Well, my reward for today is going to be blank. Now, obviously, don't pick a reward that's counterintuitive to what you're trying to achieve, but pick something. Maybe after enough of those, you get something nice. A new pair of shoes, a new piece of clothing that you like. Get your own cosmetic upgrade, so to speak. The other part of this too is just clicking checkboxes. Fun thing with the to-do list. So if you need help with the to-do list, either you can use like a OneNote, you can use this, you can use kind of anything that you have, but it gives you that same feeling as press button, receive boom, or like the little crosshair hit indicator that you see in so many FPSs and in Enlisted. And even in War Thunder, when you get to see the results of what happened, all of that can be broken down to something as simple as clicking a checkbox and seeing it go from a big 0 or blank into a check or an X, or however it's supposed to be. Definitely that, and having that point system. So even in this game, it has a way to kind of keep you in this game. The difference is this game is also designed for productivity, but guess what? It's the same design. Do some things in the game, receive some points, use the points to do more things. Just like with experience. Just like with a tech tree in War Thunder or in Enlisted, where you're slowly working towards something. The point system does the same thing. You might be saying, well, Matt, how can I use that in my life? Design your own quote-unquote tech tree. But have it be like your rewards. Have it be you're working towards something. So that's like your achievement towards your goal. A very powerful one that I've seen recently is like the little thermometer sign you can get that you fill in. Let's say you're trying to pay off a student loan debt. Well, then guess what? You just have your main amount at the top, then you have at the bottom where you're starting, and you fill it all the way up, and that's now your point system or your experience bar. At the end of it, boom, you're debt free, and then definitely get yourself a nice reward at the end of that. So now we're tying it all those systems together to that. Last thing I'm going to talk about here is a powerful thing that Spirit City LoFi Sessions does. And that's giving your avatar the ability to do common actions that you are probably also trying to do at the same time of doing this. What's so powerful about that visual is it's called body doubling. That's a common thing used by people who have ADHD or have any sort of problem with attention. Basically, you watch someone, or in this case, something, doing the action that you're trying to do, and it makes it easier for you to initiate that action. So you can set your person up to be typing at a desk or sweeping a broom or whatever it may be, and that kind of helps your brain get primed into doing the activity. If you don't think that's truly a thing, well, hey, I recommend you trying it out yourself. You can go on Twitch, you can look at YouTube, you can check out other videos where people are doing body doubling or co-working, or just see how it works out at work. When you're seeing someone else work, you kind of also want to work. That can go into a way deeper topic with like mirror neurons and stuff like that, but that's kind of the point of being able to use those kinds of game mechanics, but in your own life. Now it's time to design your life, the life that you want to have. Play the game of life. I don't mean the board game. I mean, design your life in a way that it is fun and enjoyable, but can also hold and keep your focus and attention. So if you like the new format, let me know with a thumbs up or leave a comment. If you're looking for more ways to master the art of living through the fun of gaming, please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an upload. I also love to see in the comments, what game design are you going to use to level up your life? Now go out there, be impactful, be productive, be insightful, be loving, and I'll see you in the next video.